Hi guys, Samantha from JSMO Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create the fun little beads that I showed in the intro. So, first you're going to need 2 balls of either white or pearl white polymer clay. I'm using Primo today. So I'm just going to be starting off with the one, and I'm just going to roll this into a fat cylinder. Then I'll bring forward a skewer, or any piercing tool will work. Okay, and just pierce that through. Don't worry about getting it too centered. You just want to essentially pop on like that. Okay. Then I'm just going to start rolling that on the stick. And basically what you'll do is you'll roll, and then you'll find that it's really loose on this skewer. Then you pull it, and then that will tighten it so it's not quite so loose. And then just keep doing that until it's at the thickness that you would like it to be for your beads. Okay, and there we go. Then we've got a fair amount of excess on each side that I will just trim off, like so. Okay, then I want you to put that to the side, and you will repeat the process with the other ball, except the only difference with this one is I want you to make it a little bit thicker than the last one, because we're going to be imprinting texture on it, and therefore once we've imprinted the texture on it, it will be around the same thickness as the previous cylinder. Then I'll put that to the side. Now for the next step, you're going to want to have some sort of silicone texture stamp that you are going to ink, and you're going to want some ink. I personally like to use StazOn ink, and we're going to be using jet black today. And then also, this is completely optional, but I'm going to be using a metallic alcohol ink. You can use metallic paint as well, and we're going to work with that first. And basically, if you're using metallic paint, pop the paint onto a toothbrush and just spritz it onto the cylinder. But with the ink, what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to open that up after I've shaken it, and I'm just going to dab it around the tile, like so. And I'm working quickly because I don't want this to dry. I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to roll it over the surface. Just to get it to pick up a little bit of that gold. Okay, then clean up the tile. Okay, then I'll bring over my silicone stamp. Press that down onto the tile so that it's not going to be jiggling about. Gonna grab my ink stamp and make sure to really ink this up. Get a decent amount of ink on there. Okay, so just bear with me for a moment. Okay, and that should be just about enough. I'm gonna bring over the same cylinder. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to move on. Okay, there we go. Put that to the side and clean this up. Okay, and now some of it's not going to come out perfectly, and so that part I will trim off because there's no point in baking it if you're not completely happy. And I'm also just going to trim up this end, like so. Okay. Then I'm just going to give it a quick roll on the tile just to even it out so we don't have any fingerprints or anything like that. Right. and then you can cut your beads from it. Like so. And they don't all have to be the same thickness or length, I guess is the correct way of putting it. Just cut them the way you would like them, like so. Okay, there we go. Then I'll just take those very gently and I'll just loosen them so that they're not stuck to the skewer and so that they're not touching each other either. Okay, and that's how I would bake them, but I'll show you more on that in a little bit. I'll put that to the side and I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so for the next one I'm going to be using multiple different alcohol inks, so you can see there the colours. The colours should also be in the supplies just at the beginning of the video, excuse me. Okay, and all I'm going to do is, to make sure that these don't dry out, I'm going to spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and you don't have to use a ton of that, and it doesn't have to be any particular strength, anything will work. And I'm just going to drop the ink around like so, and if it starts drying out, just add a little bit more of the isopropyl alcohol. That's perfectly fine to do. Okay. And I'm just going to add the ink around like so for all of them. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to roll it through the ink like so, just making sure that I don't have any white spots left. Okay, and then just allow that to dry. Okay, and so I've let that dry, and so I'm now going to bring over a texture stamp, and what I want you to do is I want you to dust that off with some cornstarch. And you don't need a lot, just a little bit, so that this is stick proof. Okay, then I'll bring this over, and I don't want a deep texture. I just want you to roll. And you want to be using a repetitive texture because obviously we're rolling this over and over again on the piece, and so if you weren't using a repetitive texture it wouldn't look so great. But yeah, I am using a repetitive texture because I just want to get a little bit of texture on the piece there. And I'm just going to continue doing that until I am happy with the result. Okay, and I actually want a little more texture on there, so I'm going to use this sponge and I'm going to press down it while rolling it, and that will allow me to press a little harder so I can get a bit more of a texture there. There we go. And I'm pretty happy with that. That to the side, and then just pull on this because you'll find that it has distorted a bit. And then I will trim away the excess like so. Okay, and then this one I'm going to make the pieces that I cut a fair bit smaller. Okay, and just cut as many as you want at whatever thickness you want, like so. Okay, and that should be enough. So these are the pieces that we have right now. So then I'm just going to go and I'm going to bake those. I'm going to grab some scrap clay that I have, so I have a little bit of this left over, so I'll just grab a little bit from each piece, and all I'll do is I'll use that on each side of the skewer. Like so, to balance it so that it's not resty on the tile. Do the same with this one and bake it for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature. Okay, then once they're out of the oven, I just transferred them over to a wire, and I'm just going to curve the end of this wire like so, and this is just so that I can dip it in some varnish. And you can use spray varnish, or you can use a gloss varnish like I'm using, which is Verithane, and you can either dip it or you can brush it on simply. So I'm just going to put this to the side, bring over the varnish, okay, and you'll just take them and dip them in like so. Then just let that drain, and then just hang that on something and allow it to dry for about an hour. Repeat with the other one, and then I can show you what to do afterwards. Okay, and here they are after they finished drying. I've left them for about 12 hours to finish drying, just to make sure that everything's cured and isn't going to have fingerprints on it. So now we are ready to string. So I'm going to be stringing this on elastic cord. So let me bring that over. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little black wooden bead, which is what I'm going to be using as a spacer. And then I'll just pop on one of these ones, another black wooden bead, and then I will move on to one of these, the music notes one, and then I'll just basically repeat that pattern until I have used up one of these designs, which is going to probably be the white one here. Okay, there we go. So once you've done that, make sure that once you have tied this, so to speak, that the pattern continues on seamlessly. Okay, I'm just going to make sure to really get a good knot going. And the nice thing is that will hide perfectly well inside of the pieces. And what I like to do is I like to pop a little dab of glue on there before I finish up the knot, or before I cut the strands. So you can use any kind of glue on there. You can use super glue, you can use Polybonder, you can even use an epoxy glue. So I'll do that quickly, and then once it's dried I will cut the strands and I'll show you how to tuck them away. Okay, then when I cut these threads, I do like to leave a little bit of excess. Actually, before I cut them, what I'll do is I'll take them and I'll thread it through the largest hold piece, like so. It's just easier doing this way before you actually cut it. Okay, and then I will take that knot, so you can see there where it is, and I will pull it into the bead so that you can't see it anymore. Then pulling the elastic quite a bit, cut it as close to the bead as possible, and they will shrink back inside. And so now you can't see the knot because it's inside here. You can't see those extra little tails because they're inside there, and you now have a seamless bracelet. So that's how I like to finish off my elastic bracelets. So that is basically it for today's tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. Please keep in mind that you can use any colours you want, you can use any stamps you want, any textures you want as well. Really, there's lots of ways that you can play around with this. Feel free to copy it exactly or experiment as you want. anything really goes, obviously. And if you do end up making something from this tutorial, please do let me know. I always enjoy seeing what you guys make. If you're not part of the group already, I have a Facebook group linked in the description below, so please do consider joining there, as you can post your pictures there and I always see what you guys make. So please do consider doing that. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.